Peace, love, and light, beautiful souls. Sending you much love and blessings. Welcome to my channel. My name's Mumeanha. This reading here, if you've read the title, this is Shadow Day, Saturday, which means we're going to dig into some of the root issues that can be causing a lot of imbalance in your life. This is shadow work here, so there might be things that come out that are triggering. Make sure you're centering yourself, because we're not just here to talk about what triggers you. We're here to talk about what the solutions are. This is a general reading, so only take what resonates. But this is the kind of reading where if you've come across this video, there's something here for you. Whether it's about you, someone you're dealing with, there's some type of wisdom, some type of healing that you can take from this. And this is all about healing. This isn't about blame game. What can we get to the solution of? How can we fix it? How can we grow and expand? I do soul guidance sessions. They'll be available as soon as the website is ready, and I'll be able to take some of you guys on, and you'll be able to read what all that incorporates. But it's just a way to really help center you, cleanse yourself out, and get the true proper healing that you need. In the meantime and in between time, we'll place it and speak it into existence now that this will help you out a lot. The first thing we have here, and again, remember, this might trigger some of you, but we have narcissist and empath, manipulation and imbalance. For some of you, it's someone that you're dealing with that has that issue. Someone you're dealing with is a narcissist or an empath, or they're the narcissist and you're the empath. And then for some of you that come across this, you're the narcissist. The problem with this is, the first thing you have to understand, if you're dealing with a person with these two parts, or you're the empath and they're the narcissist, all narcissists have a deep rooted issue that needs healing. They're pretty much walking around carrying their damage with them, and then they project it onto someone else. And if you're an empath, you're picking up on that, and it throws you completely off balance, because on one hand, obviously you don't deserve how they're treating you, but on the other hand, you're picking up that it's a lot deeper than what they act like it is. Or it's not as simple as just saying, oh, they're an asshole, oh, they're manipulative. Like it goes deeper than that. Could be childhood wounds. If you are a person that's dealing with both of these, then that means that you're an individual who can easily turn someone else into your villain to make you the victim, so that you can therefore have the right to be manipulative. And you recognize it, you know it, and you're an empath, so you can feel when you do someone else wrong. So comes this guilt trip. And when that guilt trip comes in and it starts playing on your emotions, you go into your self-hate, self-denials, all that. And it makes it hard to grow and expand because of why? The imbalance, right? And it's not that you're wanting to be a bad person. It's not that you're wanting to be a toxic person. It's because there are things in your past, things that you've been told or programmed with, that made you feel that this was the way to be. This is how I survive. This is how I keep from getting hurt, even though it keeps getting you hurt. It takes you right down the same path of pain that you're trying to avoid, right? So why is this taking place? And if it's happening to someone you know, why is it taking place? Because you're constantly replaying the past. And for some of you, yes, abuse plays into this. I'm not going to dive too deep into that because this is general. And I'm picking up on a lot of different things, a lot of specific things. We don't want to go that deep with it. But I do feel like when you guys were younger, from certain relatives, or some of you might have been like adopted or in foster care, you heard all the time, you're not good enough. You're never going to succeed. Or if your mom or dad couldn't do this, how do you expect to do yada, yada, yada? Actual things that made you feel insecure, that made you feel lesser than. And then as you started getting older, getting into school life, you learned a form of defense, and you learned how powerful your words were. Because if it's one thing about a narcissist, they know what to say. They know how to cut somebody with what they say. So you figured, that's my weapon. That's going to protect me. That's going to keep me safe. The problem is, when those shots get fired, innocent people get hit as well. And by the time you allow yourself to notice that or to accept that, it's too little too late. And now you're already going through that imbalanced feeling. When we're stuck in a past and we tie it into these different negative emotions, we breed more of them. So what that means is, if you are a narcissist, right? You're dealing with depression from that, and then it creates an imbalance because you're an empath. You can feel that you're hurting someone else deeply, or the person you're dealing with feels this way, right? Then what happens is that energy begins to pour out of you, and it lashes on to things that are similar, right? You know the saying, misery loves company, but misery doesn't love itself as company. So when you lash on to certain people, sometimes those people could be very nice people, but you got to now find something wrong with them. There has to be something wrong with them. There's no way they're this nice. They couldn't love me that much. You have to find something. And so a lot of times you will do something, or the person you're dealing with, you'll notice they'll do something to hurt you, to try to get you to act out, to try to get you to be imbalanced, just so that they can say to themselves, I knew it. I knew it was impossible for someone to be that loving or that caring or that kind, you know? And it's a very painful way to exist. It's painful to also be the person to get the blow, though. So for those of you watching, you know you're dealing with someone like this. You're dealing with that type of imbalance because you're the empath and you're the person they're hurting. You have to understand that you don't deserve that. You can give as much love as you can, but you can't say, I'm going to give so much love that I'm going to allow myself to be damaged, allow myself to now be crippled or hurt to the extent that I either become like you, or now I too question love, question how one loves and how honest one can be in a union or a connection. No one has that right to do that to you, even if they are going through something. And for the person who's doing it, you know that. You know that, and that's why you're here. That's why you're watching this. That's you see what it said, and you're trying to find ways, how do I fix this? Because I feel like I've been doing it so long that I don't know how to really come out of it. I don't know how to not be this way. And we're going to actually give you some help with that, right? Because you can find that you can be very hot and cold. And if you're the person dealing with this, either the person's hot and cold with you, or you find yourself getting caught up in what they're doing, and then you're the hot and cold person. You love them 1 minute, can't stand them the next minute. You know, everything's inconsistent. If you break your word so much as a little bit, like you just didn't show up on time for something, it turns into a bigger issue than what's necessary, right? And if you're the person doing this, one of the things that ticks you off about being this way is the fact that you can be inconsistent. It is the fact that you find that it's hard to stick to certain actions and plans. There's a lot of temporary setbacks when this takes place. You know, sometimes those temporary setbacks can last a while, and it really, really gets to you. It really, really gets to you. And we're going to get into how to clear all that up. But one of the ways to do it is meditation. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you went through. It doesn't matter how, and like I said, I'm picking up on some of you have went through some really deep shit, okay? Like it's not hard to see how you became that way or gained a certain mentality, right? Doesn't justify it, but it's not hard to see how it took place. So meditation's needed because one of the things that's a problem is you fidget a lot. Some of you are very fidgety because to sit still makes you feel stuck. That's a part of the trauma. It's like, if I'm still, I'm stuck. I need to move, right? But when you meditate and you learn stillness and you're able to go within, you find that all the answers that you need are really within. Now, sometimes, yes, you need to go to someone or talk to someone in order to unlock it, because there's just certain words you're used to hearing about yourself, certain negative words you're used to saying about yourself. So having somebody outside of you that don't owe you nothing, being able to come in, like this reading is doing, and tap into you and say, no, this is fixable. And here's how you fix it, gives you the power to do it. This isn't about controlling. This isn't about just telling you what to do. This is about guidance. Guidance and control are two different things, sweetheart. So when you're able to accept guidance and you're able to master yourself, you'll look back, and it could be anywhere from a few days to a month to a year from now, and you'll be like, wow, who is that person back there? I don't even recognize that person anymore. But when that takes place, there also has to be gratitude, being thankful for what it is. The reason being, You have to be able to forgive yourself and realize that even though you were doing things that you did not want to do, you were experiencing things in life that you could not stomach anymore, you learned something from it. Those negative sides, those shadow sides of ourselves, and understand shadow isn't always negative. Shadow sometimes is the side of you that actually reminds you that what you're doing is wrong. It's the part, because the love and light side, it likes to stay in the light. It likes to stay joyful. It gets engulfed a bit by the shadow because the shadow's trying so hard to protect it. Those of you with inner child wounds, you know what I'm talking about. When you get defensive, the inner child in you, the form of protecting it is to be rebellious. It's to be loud. It's to be confrontational because you're trying so hard to keep that inner child safe. And it's not just narcissists that go through this. It's empaths as well. Sometimes empaths can be snappy because you're picking up on everyone's feelings all the time. And it's really easy to feel like no one cares about your feelings. No one cares that you're like that. Some people don't even believe in empaths. So they'll just completely disregard it. And if you lash on and keep being attached to everyone's reaction to you or to everyone's reaction to every little thing you do all the time, you will drive yourself up a wall. You will drive yourself insane with that. But at the same time, if you don't look back on those situations and properly learn from them so that you can move forward, so that you can evolve, and that involves forgiving that side and embracing that side because now you understand where it came from, right? And embracing the good sides of the shadow. The good sides of the shadow is that part of you that's like, I'm determined. I'm determined to not be smoked out. I'm determined to protect this part of myself. Let me explain something to you guys so that you can truly understand another perspective of shadow, okay? It doesn't matter how bright a room is. It doesn't matter how, I'm talking about you can stay in a room that's so bright, it's almost blinding, and you feel like your shadow is nowhere to be seen. Your shadow is still there, right? You lift your foot so much as a few inches off the ground. Shadow is there. You look into space right now. Do you understand that you're only seeing 1% of this reality? So that means even when you look at images of space, you're only seeing 1% of its light. Dark holes, black holes are light. This is you can look this up. This is science. This is quantum physics. Black holes are light. So what that means is at no point is your shadow something that's meant to hurt you, but it can easily be manipulated into that based on our thoughts and our vibration. But when we operate from gratitude, when we say, okay, I'm thankful that I went through this experience because I learned something. Now I know what I don't want. Now I know what I don't want to repeat. If I've been putting up with somebody and it's time for me to let that person go because what they're doing to themselves is now unhealthy for me too, I can do that. And I can do it with love. I don't have to hate them. I don't have to carry any animosity towards them. I can just detach. We're not talking about disconnect. We're talking about detachment, meaning you're not stuck to a specific outcome. You're not wishing bad on anyone. You wish them nothing but what they deserve. Love and light, and you move on with your life. Love and light doesn't mean everything is sunny, bright all day, but you choose to step within happiness and joy and to not allow anyone to take it from you. And that goes for a person that's trying to come out of those bad habits. And I feel many of you, just like this is saying, you're going to need more information on that, right? And it's nothing wrong with you seeking more information on that. It's nothing wrong with you seeking help for it. I do feel like some of you might have tried to get help before on both ends of the spectrum. Some of you might have tried to get therapy. And it's just that when you go, the people you talk to feel kind of soulless, or they just give you a bunch of meds and say, go on about your life. And you don't feel like that's healing you. And you do need healing, and you are capable of healing. You can heal these old wounds. You're capable of it. You're not someone that can't heal. But when you go to these sessions, sometimes you feel like they're just telling you to walk it off. And to an extent, it's a part of what needs to be done, actually. But they're so careless in how they're trying to. It's not so much about saying walk it off. It's more so about helping you understand how to walk into your peace. Walk out of agony into peace. And they're not really translating that right to you. Some of you might be young. Some of you might be 23. We have 3 here twice. The number 3 might be important to you. We have 5. We have 16. I wouldn't be shocked if Some of you who come across this are teenagers, or you have teenagers. Maybe your kids is another reason you're trying to change and heal from those old wounds, because you don't want them to repeat it, right? And it's time to forgive. And this time is 19. 1 and 9, that's 10, that's completion. It's time to forgive. Forgive yourself. Forgive the people who hurt you. I know when y'all hear that, y'all used to hearing that in a way that makes you feel like, why would I forgive somebody for... You have two options, right? You can forgive, move on, detach from that situation, expand in your life, be the greatest, be greater than you ever thought you could be. Or you can be the kind of person that because you're so attached to not forgiving that individual, they mess up your entire day. You could walk into a meeting. You could become a CEO of your own company, and you can walk into a meeting, and it just so happens that the person on the other team could be the assistant of the person on the other team is this person that did you so dirty, did you so wrong. Now you're so affected by that you're about to lose out on a multi-million-dollar deal because you just can't stomach to be in the same room with that person. That means when you choose to not forgive, that individual has power over you. They dictate your feelings. Have you not noticed that? And if you're watching this and you're dealing with a narcissist, especially if you're dealing with a narcissist that doesn't want to change, have you not noticed that just a simple word from them, just a simple action from them, sometimes even if they're not directing something negative towards you, it can cause you to just walk around your whole day feeling like shit. Why is that? Because you aren't forgiving yourself for putting up with it, but you're also putting up with it because you're making excuses for them. And you're really not forgiving them every time they're hurting you. You're just becoming passive. So in becoming passive, it's just this repeating cycle. Some of you have left a person that was like that. You've moved on. You're with someone totally new. You're with a soulmate right now, probably. And you find that you sometimes can create conflict in those moments because you're expecting them to act like the other. You're expecting them to act like that last person you dealt with. And they're suffering because of what? Because you did not forgive that other person. This is the part of forgiveness that no one explains. This is why forgiveness is for you. It's not that it's not for the other person to an extent, because hopefully through them being forgiven, again, forgiveness doesn't mean that you talk to them, you have to put up with them or anything, but you don't carry hate. You don't carry the same low vibrational frequencies that they carry, which means when you elevate into spaces and parts of time that ground you versus crippling you. As this begins to happen, they can either be inspired by that or triggered by that. But at that point, what their issue is their issue to fix. You know, we're all connected. Everyone has a side of them that can get twisted if it's allowed, because everyone goes through something. We have the choice to realize that, wow, we're blessed to have not gone that far. Even those of you if you're a narcissist watching this right now, you're watching this because you want help. You want to figure out what's going on with me. It's not that there's anything wrong with you in this sense that you're some unbroken thing that just can't be fixed, like you're some shattered person. But what it is that you have to have the courage to face your issues, to face your fears, to face those, challenge what you were told, and then really put in the work to heal. And don't allow yourself to be distracted by anything else. If you're still around some of those relatives that made you feel that way, don't miss out on soulmate connections. And this isn't just about, a lover, obviously to an extent, but soulmates can also be people that your partnerships you're meant to have in business, friendships that last a lifetime. Soulmate has a lot of different meanings to it. It's people who match your soul's frequency. Don't miss out on those really powerful connections because you don't want to heal. Okay? A lot of you are going to find that when you're in meditation, a part of your healing is going to involve connecting with your chakras. We have root chakra here. I forgive myself for misinterpreting life attempts to redirect me to something better as rejection. I choose to believe that by not creating attachments to specific outcomes, I am able to experience something more beautiful than I can currently imagine. Was I not just talking to you guys about detachment? Right? Detach from thinking that something has to go wrong. Detach from thinking that something has to play out in this really specific way, and if it doesn't, it's all going to go to shit, and that's just that. Detach from that survival instinct. That's why it's red for the root chakra, because root chakra is that survival instinct. Survival puts us in high levels of stress. You can actually scan the brain when people are in survival mode and see just how much this could be affecting your health. Some of you might be dealing with health issues, stress attacks, different things like that, because once you're in that mode, it's hard to come out of it. There are times that things fell through and you just thought, oh, it fell through because I'm fucking it up, or oh, it fell through because people let me down. It fell through because there was something better for you. I don't care if it was losing a house. I don't care if it was, having to move away from certain relatives or people. It happened because there's something better on the other side. But if you can't accept that and you keep clinging to a negative belief as to why it happens, guess what'll take place? More negative things, so that you will keep having an excuse. And it's not that the universe wants you to live this way, which is why the universe will keep throwing opportunities for there to be change. But at the same time, you being given the gift of free will, you being given the power and the gift to also be a co-creator in this world, if you do not accept what's being given to you, then all that you can get is what you're manifesting. We have solar plex. I forgive myself for believing that in order to be successful, I must sacrifice rest. I choose to believe that when I take time to pause and welcome a renewal perspective, life makes time for me. Stop running on empty. Those of you who are dealing with a person that you're trying to help heal, you're sacrificing your own rest in order to do it. And that's not helping them, and it's not helping you. Stop running on E. I don't even think I need to go any deeper with that. Here from the Self-Forgiveness Oracle, Divine, Masculine, and Feminine. So we're going to tap into masculine. This is for general, so this is for anyone. But we're going to get a little bit more specific right here. And for the Divine Feminine energy, we have, I forgive myself for expecting it all to somehow fall apart when I am faced with a challenge. I choose to believe that even challenging circumstances serve to support me as they bring with them the offering of a renewal perspective. For the Divine Masculine, I forgive myself for trying to be for others that which I need to be for myself. I choose to believe that everyone has different needs, and being open to appreciating those differences allows for the expansion of my own perspective. Remember, guys, we are both the balance within between divine masculine and divine feminine energies. That supersedes just our physical makeup, right? So you may resonate with these regardless of what you identify as or are, right? Hopping into divine feminine energy again. I forgive myself for catastrophizing and abandoning hope when I perceive something has not gone according to my plan. I choose to believe I am being built for what it is I am building, and that it requires an expansion in perspective in order to obtain a higher plan. In other words, stop always thinking something's going to go wrong. Stop always believing that something's going to fall apart, and that's the only way it'll work, is that something has to be destroyed in order for something to expand. Something must, I'm just going to abandon this because it's not going to work out. Stop doing that. Stop having this catastrophic view of things, and allow yourself to accept the fact that in order for you to grow, you need to realize that there's a higher plan for you. Again, you guys have manifesting abilities. Divine masculine energy, last one, we have, I forgive myself for thinking I need to be ready before I can start creating the life I truly desire. I choose to believe that the most suitable cautions for what I will begin to arrive the moment I take inspired action towards my vision. The moment you decide, you know what, I'm destined for greatness, I'm destined to achieve, I refuse to settle for anything that doesn't fit in that structure. I understand it can come in a variety of different ways. I hold no specific view to how it may come, but I acknowledge the fact that it is coming. And therefore, I choose to operate from that higher perspective all day, every day, because I know that I'm meant for something great. There's no need for me to operate from a lower vibration, to feel I have to make another hurt, to feel that I must hurt, to feel that I must use, manipulate, or anything else. Why? Because I exist. I have purpose. And in existing and having purpose and having all these inspired ideas, all I need to do is have an inspired action towards my visions, and I will manifest what I want. Believe it like it's already happening. Because let me tell you something. There's already a version of you that exists, that's doing everything that you truly desire to do. There's a version of you that exists that already has a beautiful lifestyle, a happy family, whatever happiness, I mean genuine happiness, not what you were trying to make yourself believe is happy, but genuine happiness. And it removes all the excuses. You want to get married, you want to have a faithful relationship, you can have that. Forget what everybody else says. Forget people who want to argue, oh, it's monogamy. That's not who you're trying to be with. You already are with a person in a timeline that fits what it is that you need and you truly desire, right? But in order to get to that point, you have to match the frequency. Feel it and own it. It's yours. And don't settle for anything that tries to make you feel like you are not worthy of what's already yours. But remember, you got to match that frequency. And a part of that is forgiving ego. Ego has to be able to take a seat sometimes. Ego has its good and bad sides. But ego comes out of that need to be in survival mode. And what happens is when you realize that ego is the reason that something didn't go according to plan, that it was all your ego, you begin to feel guilty and judge your ego, which goes right back into judging yourself because it's all a part of you. So you got to forgive that too. And we're going to speak on that because we have Love Your Ego edition, and that's I forgive myself for holding on to the notion that no one understands me. I choose to believe that when I make an unwavering effort to understand myself and the way I feel, I am able to effortlessly communicate with others on a deeper level. I forgive myself for not making the changes I knew would better support me in the attainment of my desires. I choose to believe that deeper comfort and fulfillment awaits me. I may effortlessly receive them once I commit to the necessary shift necessarily to get there. That means that I choose to believe I will get where I'm supposed to be once I decide to make that shift and stick to it. I'm going to stick to this new way of thinking. You're watching this video right now. You're feeling inspired right now. It's creating a shift. It's creating emotions to move and swarm up. Accept it and allow it to happen. Let that shift come because the power is already there. What did I just tell you guys? You already have these different abilities. You just need to follow them through with action. I forgive myself for avoiding people and situations that may cause discomfort. For a lot of you empaths out there, I choose to believe that when I step out of what I know into the unseen, I may playfully explore different dimensions of my being that enable me to discover a truer version of myself. I just taught you guys how to quantum leap, by the way. Yes, that's a real thing. I just taught you guys how to do it in a very simple way on this plane. Match the frequency of the you that already exists. Because all these different versions of you exist at one time, which is why you can make even the slightest motion or the slightest movement or the slightest thought in either direction and manifest, whether it be the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the exciting, the loving, the caring. You have this ability. It's within you. There's a you that's already married with kids. There's a you that already has the career. There's a you that's already found the way to balance any and everything you want. You can have it all. And there is a version of you that has it all. But it has it all out of love. It didn't manipulate nobody to get there. It didn't tolerate manipulation to get anywhere. It doesn't choose to only believe in the negative things in the world because it understands that this world is truly filled with abundance. It is simply people who do not want to accept that abundance that struggle. And because they're struggling, they feel that they always have to fight for something. I got to fight to get what I need. I got to fight. But when you realize you don't have to fight, you simply just need to act on what it is that you want with conviction. You simply have to believe in the version of you that already exists. It's done. If you're struggling with reading, if you're struggling with writing, if you're struggling, you want to be a writer, if you're struggling with being a scientist, I don't care what your dream is. If you find that you're struggling in it, if you choose to accept that there's a version of you that's already doing it, and then you really put in the effort to believe in yourself, the next thing you know, your soul tribe will come in. That's what we are here. This is a soul tribe just here right now. A bunch of you are going to end up watching this at some point. This is timeless. And right there in that moment, guess what? There's a collection of you that are very similar to each other that all want to achieve a goal. That means you're not the only one that was suffering. That means you're not the only one that can actually break down the barriers. You can do this. And now you're going to find that in the physical world, those people all of a sudden come around you. You're going to end up in the right place at the right time every time. When something does fall apart, you realize, you know what? There's something better than that. There's something beyond that. Well, let me go to that next thing instead of staying stuck in whatever that thing was that fell apart. You will quantum leap into the next version of yourself. You will open your eyes one day and be like, how the hell did I get here? And you know what that's going to lead you to? Those divine partnerships, the healing that was necessary. And it's all going to come through gratitude. You see how that works? And all you have to do is meditate and believe in yourself in order to obtain it. Peace, love, and light, beautiful souls. I believe in you. I believe in your abilities. Be blessed.